All right, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Flow with BK and Speaks. This week we are obviously celebrating a huge victory. Took care of business Thursday night at Lambeau Field, beating the Green Bay Packers 34-20.
I almost got that prediction right, didn't I, BK?
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, you had them scoring 7. They might have scored just 7 without the officials' help. But still,
now we're talking.
Still, they put up a pretty good fight there in the second half, but for the most part, it was just complete domination.
Yeah, I've never seen a play being able to be played when there's 0 seconds on the clock. But there's another doozy for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how that is not reviewable. Would just make sense if it was reviewable. Seems like it happens to the Lions pretty frequently. Didn't hurt us at all this week.
Nope. Those things used to hurt us, and we used to not be able to overcome them, but we overcame them, and we got the big divisional win against Green Bay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, usually the old Lions would have fell apart in that circumstances, but this team is different. This team comes out, takes care of business every week, plays hard-nosed football, and I'm quite frankly chugging the Kool-Aid over here after the last couple weeks.
I don't think you're the only one chugging the Kool-Aid, BK. Did you see how many fans we had in the stands at Lambeau, baby? They had. I saw that Green Bay put a policy in to switch things up so not so many divisional opponents can get to their stadium.
Just insanity, man. We're talking like we probably had half that stadium filled, and it was basically like a home game on the road for us.
It sure was, and I can't wait to see what we do at our next home game with our own fans there.
Yeah, I mean, we got Carolina coming to town.
Yep.
Home game. We're going to get that home field advantage again, and we're 9.5-point favorites for it. So Vegas seems to think we've got a good shot too. Hopefully that doesn't jinx us. Hopefully we continue this win streak. Yeah,
we'll get back into that Carolina game here first, but let's recap how good our defense was in that Green Bay game.
Just insane, man. I mean, holding them to 27 rushing yards. This team notoriously runs the football pretty well with their offensive line. Yeah, they're a little banged up right now, but 27 yards is impressive at the pro level.
Very impressive, especially after holding Atlanta only to 44 net rushing yards the week prior. So this is the first time the Lions have held back-to-back opponents to less than 45 rushing yards since 2014.
Yeah, it's been quite impressive. I mean, everybody's given a lot of the love to Hutchinson, and for good reason. I mean, the guy's just been an animal for us since the start of the season. But a couple guys that haven't really been mentioned yet is or getting the spotlight like Hutch is John Kaminsky. John Kaminsky, our defensive end, has just been huge for us. Dan Campbell came out this week and said he's the glue guy. Which is always a good guy to have on your defense if he's bringing the defense together and making them better. The other guy, too, who hasn't really been getting the spotlight in the major radars, but throughout Lions fans, I think most of us know that Aleem McNeil is just having an insane year. I mean, the guy is producing at the D-tackle spot like we haven't seen since Sue.
Yeah, I mean, I can make an argument for Fairley before he got hurt with not hurt, medical condition with the heart. But, I mean, not quite the dominant sense that Sue had, but McNeil is bringing that presence again.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough to replace an Ndamukong Suh. Your point about Fairley, I mean, the guy just could never get healthy. It was tough to even get a good reference point on how good he could have been.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, McNeil's not doing things at quite the level that Suh was, but he's stopping the run at an incredibly high rate. And the defense has been playing at an extremely high level since week 2.
I think he could get there. I mean, McNeil is graded as one of the team's top 2 defenders for 2 weeks in a row. And defense is playing at an extremely high level since our loss to Seattle. Something that Benino Jones said that, he said, we're just hungry. So Seattle left a bad taste in our mouths. And from here on out, we just want to finish games, and we plan on doing that, and we have the ability to do it, and we've been doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just taking care of business in the division, which is huge.
Yeah.
We're talking we've won 8 out of 9 in divisional games, and we've won 6 straight. So it's been complete dominance here since last season for the most part.
Did you happen to see that fit Benito Jones came in on with the Carhartts with nothing underneath?
Oh yeah, a little bit of swag.
I like that. Yeah, baby.
This team's playing with a little bit of attitude, I'll tell you.
They sure are. Another guy who's playing with a little bit of attitude who, I'll be honest, I was ready to bench him, and then Jerry Jacobs goes off with 2 picks for us.
Yeah, had a great game. I mean, Jacobs has been playing well. We've talked about it in previous weeks. I mean, he's had his struggles a little bit, but he's been getting picked on at a high level. And like this weekend, he comes up with a couple turnovers, finally starts to show what he's got. And I see why we got him in that starting lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by halftime, Love had more passing yards to Jerry Jacobs, who's, our corner, and intercepted at 20 yards than anyone on his own roster. So the Lions had 206-21 edge and yardage at, one point in the game. This is coming from a Lions team who once lost 24 games in the state of Wisconsin, the longest road losing streak to anyone against anyone in NFL history.
Yeah, they've owned us at Lambeau. It's been crazy. And we went out there on Thursday, smacked Green Bay in the mouth right out of the gates. And we just took that game over early. It was awesome to see as a fan.
It was a defensive presence. Detroit had 3 takeaways, 12 sacks, and 7 for 25 on third down conversion rate. That's 3 damn good statistics for our defense.
Yeah, they've been elite since the Seattle game. But I think we got to get into the fact on how good this offense has been, especially running the football. David Montgomery.
Oh, he's a beast coming off that quad injury, man. He was a dog, was he not?
Yeah, he's been a dog for us all year. I mean, he forced 9 missed tackles versus the Packers, which is an extremely high rate, and is leading the league actually in broken tackles right now with 12. The guy's been just an unbelievable in the tackle force for us, like you were mentioning, and it's promising to this running attack.
It sure is. And, you hear a lot of people talk about how, Gibbs is on my fantasy team. He's not producing. I knew right when we signed Montgomery, he was going to be the lead back. He was going to get all the majority of the touches. So for anyone who's getting mad that Gibbs isn't getting used the way you want him to get used, the season's very early. And now with J-Mo coming back, I'd like to see us split Gibbs out wide a little bit more. Let Montgomery be the bell cow that he is, and then exploit using him with J-Mo, as wide receiver options.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you use the 12th overall pick on a guy, you hope that he plays right out of the gates. Gibbs obviously has the talent where he could play out of the gates. I would like to see the usage go up a little bit.
As would I.
I wanted to see it early on. Who didn't? You get into the 12th overall pick. A guy has that type of ability on offense. You obviously want to see him get the ball a little bit more. But I get it. I get it too. Ben Johnson, our offensive coordinator, is just waiting and biding his time. Doesn't want to show too much with Gibbs. Kind of wants to ease him in. It's going to be fun to watch once they finally unleash him here.
Yeah, and I kind of touched on it a bit, but with Jameson, Williams returning from the suspension, what do you think this means and brings to our offense?
Yeah, we got a deep threat. Finally, it's to the point where Jameson Williams can take the top off of any defense that there is out there.
Sure,
he's got that type of wheels. It'll be interesting to see how we use him out of the gates with the lack of communication he's had with the team. I know Antoine Randall, our receivers coach, came out today and said he couldn't talk to him at all during the suspension. So it'll be interesting to see what his return looks like. But Manny gives us another explosive talent on offense.
Yeah, I mean, even if his usage isn't, up there that a lot of people want to see being the 12th overall pick and us moving up to get him, he's going to open up stuff for other players that have been, producing that are going to produce that much more. He's just going to create that extra dynamic that we haven't had. And like you said, that deep threat. And it's just the spacing's going to be incredible with Laporta's production, St. Brown, Reynolds. I mean, I've loved what Khalif Raymond's done. We just look very poised and solid on the offensive end.
Yeah, we're throwing the ball well, but like I was mentioning earlier, this team loves to run the football. You can taste it with the way we've played the early games. We're trying to control the clock. I don't see us moving away from the running attack. The passing attack is going to kind of be a secondary thing for us this year.
No, that's our identity, and Ben Johnson has never got away from that, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. He's going to stay true to our identity, and we're a run-first team. You've seen it every single game. We're a run-first team. We're going to run it down your fucking throats.
Yeah, and I think we're running to set up the pass.
Yep.
That's the other side of it. Is our play-action game, we're getting a lot of space because these linebackers have to come up. Our offensive line is dominant.
Yeah, our offensive line, even with the injury problems, has been outstanding. We're getting that push that we need. We're creating the holes, and our running backs are hitting them holes.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, it's been Montgomery right out of the gates, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Craig Reynolds for the 1 week played a little bit.
And Gibbs had a good 80-yard, game versus Atlanta. I mean, he outdid Bijan.
Yeah. I mean, Bijan had a tough game versus us, but our run defense is very good.
Yep.
I think Bijan Robinson is obviously a generational talent too. I think Gibbs probably fits us better. And we got Laporta out of that deal too because we moved back from 12, picked up 34 where we drafted Sam Laporta. So if you're telling me we got Gibbs and Laporta for the price of Bijan, I would take that all day long.
You mentioned our Lions running game has been pretty stout this season. So they've allowed 54 rushing yards before contact this season. The league average is 140.25 yards. And then the Lions defense has allowed only 254 rushing yards this whole season, which is third in the whole NFL, which is damn good.
Yeah, I mean, the competition we've played hasn't been that great out of the gates. It'll be interesting to see what happens once we start to get into some of these bigger games with, playoff contenders. Like, I'm not sure we would have that type of success for San Francisco or Philly right now. But those are kind of the top dogs in the NFC, and it's been a long time, and maybe not ever in my lifetime where I could say that the Lions are competing with these top dogs in the NFC.
No, absolutely, but we can't control who we play, and we are doing great things against the opponents we've had so far, and I'm excited to see how we look against some of those better echelon teams that you just mentioned.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, if you tell me before the season starts that we get to third in the league for rushing defense right now, I would have told you you're crazy. I mean, we had gaps all over this defense last year. They seem to have stepped it up, taken it to a new level. Anzalone's playing great at linebacker.
I love what he's doing. Barnes
has come out of nowhere at the linebacker spot. We seem to be deep at the position group now with Jack Campbell also there and Malcolm Rodriguez. I mean, the linebackers were not in good shape the last couple seasons. Now it seems to be a strength, and it's producing with that running defense.
Yeah, and Tracy Walker played great again in his second game back, fan favorite. And one thing that we haven't talked about is, the head coach, Dan Campbell, first head coach to win 4 straight games versus the Packers since 1982-83 Monty Clark, which is quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, this guy's got the culture. Fit here in Detroit. He's got the culture going, and he's got these guys ready to play weekly. And it's awesome to see them so inspired and coming out there every week, giving it their all, and believing that they can win.
Yeah, and we have some guys who are trending in the right direction, even come back to make that, defense that much better. A big free agent signing, Emmanuel Mosley, looks like he's trending in the right direction to get back for us this week.
Yeah, I saw that, and unfortunately, I don't think Branch practiced earlier this week, so we'll see if he's a go this weekend. But
he continues to show out. He did not want to come out of that game, did he?
No, I mean, the guy has just been performing at an incredibly high level for us. It's impressive to see. We would miss him this weekend, but Mosley would be a nice little fill-in if we did need someone to do it.
Yeah, you're 100% right there. And one thing that we didn't, touch on is that Anzalone hit. That's a flag now.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with these officials in some of these games. It's getting to the point where it's like, when are we going to hold these guys accountable for some of the calls that they're making? I mean, they seem to make these poor calls. We just kind of wave them off and say, yeah, it's just a part of the game.
Yeah, it seems to be that way, unfortunately. But the thing about it now is we have the talent to combat it, and we certainly have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, good teams are able to overcome the bad officiating. Bad teams, not so much. And fortunately, we're on the right side of that nowadays.
Yeah, it's great to see, and I look forward to seeing, how we do against Carolina. We're 9.5 favorites in this game. What's your prediction going into this game? What do you see as some positives and negatives to this game coming up?
Yeah, well, Carolina plays that physical style. They're going to come out. They're going to try to smash mouth with us, and we'll see if they can hold their own. Detroit's going to play their style. They're going to try to run the football still and try to, get it down Carolina's throats by running the football to set up the pass. We're favored by 9.5. I actually think we're going to cover. If our defense plays the way we did the last couple of weeks, I'm not entirely sure that this game's all that close. Bryce Young doesn't really have the weapons over in Carolina.
And it's pretty glaring to see, I mean, me and you watched a lot of his games. Our buddy Taylor's huge Bama fan, so we watch a lot of Bama games, and we know how good Bryce Young is. Me and you both thought he was, 1-2 with CJ as the best, quarterback coming out of the draft. And it's very glaring that he doesn't have the talent around him that he had at Alabama. Not to say that he can't make players better around him. It's when you don't have the talent there, it's hard to and you're playing with the big boys. You're playing with the best that there is.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Jared Goff kind of ran into it too when he started with the Lions. The Lions didn't really have weapons on the outside. We've built it up from that point.
Very good point.
But when we're talking, with Carolina and Bryce Young, I think Bryce Young's a very good player. But he doesn't have the weapons around him like you're mentioning. The offensive line has been a little shaky for him. I think our pass rush probably gets there. And our DBs make some plays. You get that crowd noise, too, on the rookie quarterback. I think it's just going to be too much for Carolina to handle. I think we probably win, let's go 28-13.
I like that. I do think we cover the spread as well. I think that crowd is going to be ripping and roaring there. I think it's going to be hard for, Bryce Young to hear. And I think we win this game 45-10.
Man, you really believing in this offense. I like it.
And the defense.
Yeah, with the 10. Yeah, I mean, I could see the 10. The 10 seems a little bit more likely than the 45, but what do I know? I mean,
J-Mo's coming back.
I didn't think 35 was possible this week. And, I mean, they came out and did it. Our offense seems to be one of the best in the league. I think, they could score that 45, and, this defense can play well. So I like that prediction.
Thank you, my man. So with us both having our predictions for this Carolina game, we hope you enjoyed, another episode of BK and Speak Sports Flow. Until the next one, and hopefully another W. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's enjoy this one. This is a lot of fun.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.